Kevin is a very strong advocate and a driving force for Black gay men and the LGBT community in Arkansas. He has served as the executive administrator for Little Rock Black Pride and program manager for Arkansas Black Pride. Kevin works as a makeup artist for MAC Cosmetics, where he serves also as a global ambassador for HIV and AIDS platforms. In addition to Kevin's full-time job, he also serves as the Director of Education for Strilight, the Executive Director of Arkansas CAN, which stands for Creating Awareness Now, as a HIV STD counselor, and helps monitor Black gay men's portfolio for the country through the National Alliance of State Territorial AIDS Directors, better known as NASDAD. Please welcome Kevin.
Thank you, Mark, for that introduction. We were asked to talk about LACorp, the Living Affected Corporation, and the work that we do in the LGBT community. The Living Affected Corporation, also known as LACorp, is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to transform communities through holistic health by providing prevention and advocacy. We provide free HIV testing at our office as well as mobile testing. Well, I guess you're probably wondering what mobile testing is. Mobile testing is meeting people where they are. We have worked with many national organizations such as NASDAD and AIDS United in Washington, D.C., the Southern AIDS Coalition, and Tibotec Pharmaceuticals, as well as the Arkansas Department of Health. We have published 2 books, a magazine, and a resource guide. We are strong advocates for marginalized communities. Now, some of you may be thinking, what is a marginalized community? Any community that has been socially excluded with the intent to prevent them from having attention or power to take something or somebody away from the center of attention, influence, or power. Although there are a lot of people that are marginalized, our emphasis is on advocating for young Black gay men here in the state of Arkansas. Our emphasis in this is backed by our endorsement of the Testing Makes Us Stronger campaign through the CDC. One of the main reasons why we've gotten so involved and we've hit the ground running is the fact that in 2002, the CDC stated that 48% increase in young Black gay men across the country for new HIV infections. And that's a problem here in the state of Arkansas, especially with us only being 16% of the population as far as African Americans go. There's a very low population of Black gay men here in the state. So these young men here in our state are our brothers, our nephews, our cousins, our friends, our neighbors that we see every day. This is one of the most forgotten communities, especially here in the South. We must let them know that they are loved and their lives have meaning. Our efforts are further backed by the basic human rights framework known as HEFTI, which stands for Housing, Food, Education, Treatment, and Employment. These basic socioeconomic needs are lacking in this community because they have been ostracized from their homes, from religious leaders, and mainstream society. LACorp feels that if these young gay men have these 5 components, they care more about their sexual health. These young men can be future doctors, lawyers, businessmen, and leaders of this country if we let them know that they value in society. Although some go on to be successful in life, a lot of them fall through the cracks of an unforgiving and hateful society that looks down upon them. So how do we address this? We address this by treating them just like everybody else. Now I'm going to introduce Diedra Levi. Diedra is a very seasoned and passionate expert in HIV and AIDS and has been for the last 20 years. She's done many programming with emphasis on the LGBT community of color. She has been awarded the National Positive Leadership Award by the National Association of People with AIDS. Diedra has also been named the top 20 minority health advocates by the Arkansas Minority Health Commission in 2011. She has also served as the co-chair for the Arkansas Community Planning Group and leads the Arkansas HIV Community Advocates Coalition. As the founder and CEO of the Living Affected Corporation, she has spearheaded advocacy that addresses the physiological needs of people living with or affected by HIV and AIDS. Please help me welcome Diedra Levi.
Sorry about that, folks. And is this working also? We got everything working? Okay, so I'm supposed to be talking about trauma, but I want to wake everyone up. So we want to talk about sex first. It would be real hard to talk about sexuality without addressing sex first, correct? Wouldn't it? Okay, so we're going to do a little type of question and answer thing. Hey, you know, the one thing that didn't happen is they didn't tell me how to work this thing. Okay, all right. Just some myths and things of that nature about the LGBTQIAQ2S. Am I missing some? Okay, about the gay community. All right, does everyone know what all of the letters stand for now? Okay, does anybody know what LGBT is? Somebody. Someone stand up and tell me, please. Hey, Bob, you know? Bob cannot answer this question.
L is for lesbian.
Or live.
For gay. And B, those asexual, bisexual, yeah, whatever. And T is for transgender.
Okay, does anyone know what I stands for? I? Can we get an I? Say that again. Intersex. What does that mean?
It's the more correct, medically correct version of saying that. You know, if the person uses the word physical, abnormal or physical anomaly for human beings to be not medically form and fully functional. I don't know. So you take it.
Okay, no, I mean, that was great. But if I had all of that, I wouldn't want you calling me an anomaly. It's just a person with everything they could possibly need. Okay. All right. Okay, let me ask this question. What's the Q stand for?
Question.
Questioning or? Queer. Do you all remember when queer was an insult? Well, it's re-owning the name and making it a broad spectrum of how you feel about your sexuality. Okay. How about 2S? 2S. It's the new one. This one came out like within the last 2 years. 2S is two-spirited. Native Americans have called for years people that are gender non-conformant, two-spirited. It wasn't a bad thing at all. You just had two spirits living inside of you. How about the T? Let's talk about the T. Who's got the T? Transgender. Who said transgender? Transgender. Tell me about a transgender person. Okay, that's great. So now we've got it together. We did LGBTQI. Oh crap, there's P now. Pansexual. Anyone know what pansexual is? No one? Bob, can you please tell them what pansexual is? Pansexual. Okay, can you repeat that closer in, Bob?
Yeah, pansexual is that we really don't care what it is that we're doing. We might do it together. While I might be gay and do something gay, if you're not gay and you're in the same room and you're doing your stuff too, you know, we'll just join in and do it out. It's a whatever.
Do what you like. Okay. All right, here's just some more quick facts. Quick facts, and then we're going to get into the meat and the heaviness of everything. Don't ask, don't tell. Said stay in the closet. Obama came up and said forget the closet. It's not a mental disorder. It becomes a mental disorder when people that are not LGBTQIP2S bother us so much that you make us ill. Get it? Okay, cool. The butch femme. The one plays the husband, one plays the wife. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. There is not a particular way that this goes. Okay, I'm going to speed this up. Transgender issues are different than LGB issues. Completely different. We must have more education on this particular community. I wanted to thank the health department for initiating some of the education materials and sessions that have come into this state concerning this. But it is very different, and we all need to, even the LGB community needs to come into some agreement on how to be accepting of this particular population. I'm going to move quickly. We're going to go through that. No one knows what causes homosexuality. You hear folks say they were born with it, and then some people choose, and it's okay, however it happened. Okay, we're going to go through the. Okay. In the program, it said that I was going to talk about trauma. I do this very serious thing on the trauma of the plague, and it talks about the experiences that those that of us that were living and of age in the early 80s when this disease first came out. By the time I left Chicago in 1989, I was 28 years old. I had lost 95% of my male friends. All were dead. I was on the club scene, severely on the club scene. So we're talking hundreds of men that I knew had died. I came to Little Rock, Arkansas in 1989. The same thing began to happen. I opened a club. My star performer dies within the first year. And then probably about 50% of the population that was attending the club died. Now, here's some of the things that we have to think about. During this time, we had not progressed to where we were. So I couldn't go to their funerals because their parents wouldn't let us, because they never died from AIDS. They had stomach cancer. They had any type of anything but AIDS. And it's still happening today. It's still happening today. Last year, we buried, some of you all know Patrick. Everyone knew that Patrick had AIDS. But the mother said, do not mention it. In fact, do not put up a sign about it. Do not put it in the program. Okay, so here we are. We had in San Francisco alone, we had 15,000 people die. Men under 30 years old in less than 2 years. These are the same numbers that you get from wars. But no one got diagnosed with PTSD after this. So many of the survivors suffered. They had survivor's guilt. Some still do. This was a war that was not recognized. And people are still suffering from it. One of the reasons that we don't do anything about it because we had to stop feeling. We had to stop feeling because it was too much. Before we could go through the 5 stages of grief, someone else had died. And we couldn't process it because we couldn't go to the funeral because the families wouldn't let us. So this happened over and over again, and I'm running over my time. Senator Mabin is looking funny. But this was a very important thing. And if you have any questions or want to see the full trauma presentation, please give us a call at the Living Affected Corporation. Very easy number, 1-877-902-7HIV. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we'd like to bring to the stage Cornelius Mabin, the COO of the Living Affected Corporation. Let me get it on here.